Your reasons for listening to the show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen.
Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Make sure you check out my website, Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with two D's, Tuddle.net. You're going to be able to find every single place that I can be found online at Tuddle.net. There's a couple of ways you can get a hold of me. I love interacting with the supporters of this show. You can email me. I write every single person back. You can email me, Tuddle@gmail.com, or you can leave me a voicemail. I love getting voicemails from people. 407-270-3044. Once again, that is 407-270-3044. So I want to start off the show today. I know that it probably sounds really, really weird. I know that it probably like, oh, Tuddle, why are you wishing your dad a happy birthday with everything going on? How could it be a happy birthday for him? Yeah, today, May 20th, 1947, he was born. Now, I talked about this a little bit last night on the YouTube live stream, and I asked what I should do. What should I do? You know, they only allow 2 visitors a day, but I actually think that they're going to maybe give us an extra one, because I don't want to take up a spot. Like, I know that my dad would want to see me, but I know that his older brother Harold, my Uncle Harold, and my mom would be the two. Like, I would give up my spot. I know that it probably sounds like I am a pussy, and I'm not. I really, really am not. It's just, I have dealt with so many family members that have died in hospice, and it's just not the way that you want to remember people. But a lot of people have been telling me that even though he really does not acknowledge me when I'm in the room, or knows who I am, or looks me in the eyes, or any of that stuff, people still are telling me that he knows that I'm there. And I hope that you guys are right. And that's the only reason that I keep going, because if I knew, like, he didn't even know that I was there, like, for sure, like, it just seems like I am torturing myself. But I don't want to get into the bad stuff. I wanted to get into the good stuff. You know, one of the things that me and my dad love the most are the University of Florida football games. Even working in Tampa during college football season, I never missed a weekend. You know, even though it was a pain in the ass to drive all the way across the state, during college football season, I was there for every single game to be able to watch it with him. It's just something that we've always done. He gets very, very excited about the games. We absolutely love it. And fortunate enough, we were able to see the Gators win 3 national championships. And I had never seen a bigger smile. Well, I have seen bigger smiles on my dad. The day that we won the championship on the Little League baseball team that he coached of mine, that's the one day. That's the smile that I always remember. And I just wish that back then, because you got to remember, it was the late 90s. We did have video cameras, but they were just so clunky and stuff. But I wish I had more videos of those games, because that would be definitely something I would show him. But I got one of those TV connectors, and I was thinking about maybe picking one of the national championship games that the Florida Gators won the national championship with. Now, I got my choice of 3 of them, and I already know which one is his favorite. But I got Florida versus Florida State in the 1996 Sugar Bowl. I got Ohio State versus Florida in the 2006 Fiesta Bowl. Or I have Florida versus Oklahoma in the 2000, I think that was the Orange Bowl. Yeah, Orange Bowl. I'm always going to remember that FSU game. I really am. I don't know if you know much about DeLand. This is back when, sometimes you wouldn't be able to get some of the games on TV. We didn't even have cable back then when these games were going on. So we lived so far out in the middle of nowhere, we would have to go to some places to be able to watch the games. And Florida State, I think it was number 1 versus number 2 in that game. And the Gators ended up losing by a field goal up at Tallahassee. And the FSU fans were talking so much shit at Gators Dockside, right there in DeLand, in that Victoria shopping plaza where the movie theater is. I don't even know if that place is still there. But, yeah, so then we were like, oh, man, so many things had to happen that year after that loss to the Seminoles for the Gators to be able to play in that game. I think Nebraska had to lose to Texas. And then Arizona State had to beat Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Or no, Ohio State had to beat Arizona State because that was back when Jake the Snake Plummer was still there. And then that set up FSU versus Florida in the Sugar Bowl for the national title. And I will always remember that 52-20, 32 points. The game before they had actually beat the shit out of Danny Woelfel. And Spurrier was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this boy in the shotgun the whole time. We're just going to run this fun again, and we're going to do it all day. And even being a Gators fan, I know a lot of you guys are going to give me hate. Oh, you didn't even go to the University of Florida. How could you be a Gators fan? There are some people that actually hate people that root for colleges they didn't go to school for, and I think that is just absolutely ridiculous. It is. But I will say this, even though it was a big rivalry, Bobby Bowden said he was just like, man, they beat the pants off of us today. They beat us in every facet of the ball game. They deserved it, blah, blah. Spurrier and Bowden, what might have been one of the best trash-talking, competitions out of all of them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up the little HDMI cable, maybe put on the 96 national championship football game, and sit there and watch the Gators game with my pops for his birthday. Today he is going to be 74. And listen, I want my dad to get better, obviously. I really, really do. I want that more than anything. But it would be like my dad. It would be like my dad to go out on his birthday. And I know that I shouldn't even be thinking that way. But, I've been telling people, I'm hoping for the best, planning for the worst, and that is the only thing that is keeping me completely sane right now when it comes to this whole situation. One of the first news stories I want to get into today, now, I don't like disparaging the dead. I really don't. But I will say this. I'm not saying anything bad about this next person. But comedic legend Paul Mooney died at the age of 79. Now, I'm not going to say that the guy was not talented. He was very, very talented. I mean, he worked with some of the most legendary people of all time. Only bad thing I'm going to say about him is that he is not a good radio guest. He really, really isn't. And I don't know if it was more of, I got to word this correctly. He really, really just was angry at the world. And I get it, where he grew up, the time he grew up. I'm sure there was a lot of racism. But man, oh man, it was like pulling teeth the whole entire time to be able to get just any answer out of him. And most of the time when it was an answer, it was, fuck you, honky, or not fuck you, honky. I'm going a little overboard with that, but he just did not seem like he wanted to be there. And he's just so monotone sometimes. He's got this really deep voice. And he almost acted like he was too cool for the room. Now, like I said, I'm not going to take anything away from his career because, I mean, the guy has worked with a lot of people. Paul Mooney, the longtime comedian, writer, and actor known best for his work with Richard Pryor, has died from a heart attack, TMZ has learned. Once again, a lot of you people make fun of TMZ, but these motherfuckers are starting to become some, like, legitimate news sources. According to his family, Mooney died Wednesday morning at his home in Oakland. We were told that the paramedics tried unsuccessfully to revive him, and he suffered a heart attack. Paul, who's been out of the public eye for a few years, had also reportedly been suffering from dementia for some time, was staying with a longtime family member. See, now, he was a writer for Richard Pryor, and you know that Mooney and Pryor probably did a lot of drugs. They did. Now, can I ask a quick question? Was I got, and maybe this is known, and I don't know a lot about Paul Mooney, but I got a gay vibe from him. Was Paul Mooney gay or not? Like I said, I'm not trying to disparage. If he was, you know what? Actually makes him a little bit cooler in my opinion. Though born in Louisiana, Mooney moved to Oakland and grew up there and got his start in entertainment as a circus ringmaster, which led to a passion for telling and writing jokes. This led to his first professional gig in show business as a writer for Pryor, and two would maintain a working relationship. He actually wrote, man, see, this is where Paul Mooney, like, is a legend, because he wrote a lot of those jokes live on the Sunset Strip for Richard Pryor. And that is one of the greatest stand-up, like, specials you're ever going to see. Like, I'm being dead serious. I mean, right there, you could call it a career. You call it a walk-off in baseball. That would be a walk-off moment. Like, you could have done nothing else after that stand-up special, and you could have been like, fuck, I wrote a lot of the jokes on Live on the Sunset Strip for Richard Pryor. Mooney was also the head writer on the Richard Pryor Show. I don't know if that was really that big. He wrote a few episodes of Pryor's Place. His other notable writing credits include Sanford and Son, another legendary show, In Living Color, fantastic, and The Chappelle Show. You know, In Living Color was so far ahead of its game, so far ahead of the game. Like, back then, even though it was in the 90s or even late 80s, that they had a all-black cast, black directors, black producers, just black everybody. And then you had this nerdy-ass dude, not Richard Pryor, Jim Carrey. And the show just, I mean, it was kind of a little, and I hate to use the word ghetto, but by ghetto means, like, they didn't have the budget of, like, a Saturday Night Live. You didn't get all the fancy sets, and I'm not saying that SNL has fancy sets, but the production level, you could tell that SNL got way more money than In Living Color, and the only network that would take a chance on In Living Color was Fox. Fox. Yeah, Fox was the only channel. You couldn't have put that show on network TV, NBC, CBS, or ABC. No way. No fucking way that show could have ever been there. So, what I'm saying, though, is that I'm just giving you my experiences when it comes to Paul Mooney. Not saying anything bad about his career. He just is a bad radio guest. Every time he ever came on, it was just like, oh, Paul Mooney. I mean, he had some great stories, but it was like pulling teeth. It was like being in the middle of a dentist, procedure live on the radio. And it was uncomfortable. And I like uncomfortable. Russ hated uncomfortable, and that's why I maybe said that. You know what? I might be changing my mind. Paul Mooney might have been brilliant. He might have been so goddamn brilliant. He did his whole thing on purpose just to make people uncomfortable. Gonna take a quick break. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button, because when you hit that bell button, you're gonna get alerted to anytime I go live or put up any new content. Gonna take a quick break. Be back in a few minutes. You are listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
Great news, folks. You now have the chance to see the face in front of that sexy voice. Right you are, sir. The Tuddle Daily Podcast streams Monday to Friday on YouTube. Anything can happen at the Hobo Fish Camp. Okay, sir. That's enough. Okay. So go to youtube.com/Tuddle. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified anytime Tuddle goes live. Good job, sir. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Compliments? Or do you just want to tell Tuddle to fuck off? In any event, contact Tuddle. Tuddle@gmail.com. It's, Tuddle with 2 Ds, dumbass.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Like I said earlier in the show, I hope you guys are enjoying your day so far. If you'd like to donate, help out to the cause, all the money that you guys have been sending, I've been banking it, trying to build the eventual studio. Told you guys before about my idea about having a mobile podcast studio. Working on that idea as well, too. But if you'd like to help out, even if it's $1, soon I'll be able to get the super chat on my YouTube channel. I'll be monetized. You guys will be able to tip me kind of like it's kind of like Twitch, but it's not Twitch. But for the time being, you can go to my PayPal account, paypal.me/Tuddle on the radio. I write every single person back and thank them for their generosity. So that is paypal.me/Tuddle on the radio. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to, because this story is not the most entertaining story, but, today is my dad's birthday, and I want to, you'll see how I connect the two, okay? Right now, since they've opened back up, like, full-time, I don't even know if it's full-time yet in New York, but it just seems like people are losing their goddamn minds. Like, they have been cooped up inside, and now everybody, like New York City, Manhattan, they're just wilding out right now. Cops in New York are investigating yet another apparent hate crime against an Asian person. Someone assaulted a 48-year-old man on West 43rd Street and 11th Avenue in Hell's Kitchen on Wednesday. Well, where was Daredevil at the time? Daredevil, I know, it's a very, very nerdy comic. But yeah, where was Daredevil in this? The attacker repeatedly punched the victim in the face and yelled, "Go back to your country," police said. The deranged assailant then bit his victim's finger, severing a fingertip, police said. Now, this is where it comes in here, okay? Either a zombie or somebody that was taught just like my dad taught me. My dad always said, never start a fight. Like if I find out you start a fight and then you get your ass kicked, oh, you're getting a double ass whipping when you get home. But if you're getting bullied, you better step up for yourself. And my dad taught me. Back when I was going to school, like kids for some reason thought that there were rules to fighting. Like if your guy fell down, you let him get back up. No. If you watch World Star Hip Hop right now, the last thing you want to do is fall on the ground because you are getting football kicked. Like Sebastian Janikowski kicking you like a fucking mule in the face. Which I also don't understand. Back in the day when we fought, when we were young kids, we never, ever, ever once thought about, oh man, I could easily punch this person. They could fall backwards, hit their head, get paralyzed, or even die. And we never thought about any of that stuff. But like I said, so the whole roundabout thing was my dad always told me, now, if you are getting the absolute shit kicked out of you, you do whatever you got to do. You do whatever you got to do. There are no rules in fighting. Like my dad said, there aren't. Like I said, I can't go up and sucker punch somebody because that would be me starting the fight. I would have gotten my ass kicked. But like I said, two of my best friends, Derek and Howard, both of those guys I got into fights with, and both times they beat the ever-living piss out of me. And Derek, who was humongous, I was a runt, not a cunt. I was a runt, growing up in high school. I had the height. But guess what? I did not have the weight. I swear to God, must have been outweighed me by 60, 70 pounds. And Derek was not fat. He was just a big-ass motherfucker. I ended up getting one good punch in, and I was like, yes, you're doing good. Bam! He caught me with the left. I went to the ground. He got on top of me and just started wailing on me. You know, like, say, I don't have any big brothers or sisters, but like one of your older siblings would get on top of you, straddle you, like lay on your chest, kind of. And, you know, they do that long, like, loogie thing, like they're going to spit in your face or wet willy you. Yeah, I would have loved to have gotten that, but no, I was getting two-piece biscuits, like, just thrown, hey, just one after another in my face. And the first thing I could do was just sit up, and I almost bit Derek's nipple off. Like, I got him right in the nipple, and I bit down as hard as I could. This is back when, before I even grinded down my teeth from, like, all the stress and everything. I don't want you to think I got bad teeth. I still got all my teeth. There's a little flat. But back then, man, I had some Jaws, like, teeth. And I got down. And you have never, ever heard anybody scream as loud, like, scream like a girl. But do you realize, like, how much pressure it would take to be able to bite somebody's finger off, to be able to get through the skin, the bone, the cartilage, the tendons, everything in there? This guy must have had some really, really, really big hatred for the Asian community. And, you know, I know a lot of people are going to, well, this is all because of Trump. This is all because of Donald J. Trump, calling it the Kung Flu or the China virus. I mean, you might be right. You might be right, but this was an African-American gentleman attacking Asians. You know, everybody goes towards the white people as some of the most racist people or the only people that can be racist. I mean, that's not the truth at all. I mean, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody, but just look at the Italians alone. The Italians alone up in New York City, they have so many different words for black people. And, like, this just shows you how uncreative we are as racists in the South. I'm not saying we are, but I'm just saying we are in the South. I'm not a part of any of the racists. But what I'm trying to say is that we got one word. We got the N-word. That's all we could come up with. Well, no, we do have some other ones down here, too. Now, the more and more I'm thinking about it. Oh, boy. I just opened up a can of worms. Cancel culture is definitely going to be coming after me. But no. I will fight you. I will debate you tooth and nail on this one. The Italians up in New York, in the Jersey area, yeah, those are the most racist motherfuckers you're ever going to find, because you got to remember, I was married into a very, very Italian New Jersey family. Talking Jersey Shore, Seaside Heights area, Tom's River, very, very white, very, very Italian. And yes, racist as hell. Racist as hell. But, I mean, I think all cultures are, though. I mean, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. Like, racism is not, like, you're not born being racist. No, I just didn't do a big line of cocaine. But you're taught. You're taught to look at people a certain way. You're taught to judge people. And I think that's getting better and better through the years. I know, like I said, a lot of people want to jump on the hate Trump train, which I'm a part of that hate Trump train. Hate Trump train. No, what I'm trying to say, though, is, like, I mean, people are responsible for their own actions. So just because Donald Trump got up there and called it the Kung Flu or the China virus, yeah, that probably didn't help at all. But I just think that people have been cooped up for so long, and this guy just saw an Asian person, and I don't even know why a black person would say, go back to your country, because, I mean, we've kind of said that all to black people all the time. Go back to your country. Well, you kind of brought me here, so, I mean, that one's on you, buddy. That one is on you. Brink of fertility crisis. Scientists say plummeting sperm count caused by everyday products. Now, I don't know. Like, I don't think that I'm producing any less sperm than I actually have in the past. But who knows? Like, because a lot of people think everything that comes out of the head of your dick is a part of the sperm. No, it's not. It really, really is not. But a 40-year-long study showed sperm counts have dropped by nearly half. Dr. Shanna Swan hypothesized men will no longer produce sperm by 2045. Now, I am a guy that believes in evolution, okay? You know, the character that Jeff Goldblum played in Jurassic Park, nature always finds a way. Well, if you remember in the movie, because he was a chaos theory, where nature always finds a way to be able to survive. Or this could be just leading to the extinction of mankind. Or maybe we'll evolve into something else. Who knows? You've probably heard of someone who struggled with infertility. Maybe you even know a couple who had treatment to help them have a baby. Maybe this is a good thing, though. Like, think about this, okay? I have talked about how the planet Earth, our planet Earth, has a tipping point, a point of no return of how many people that we can actually sustain for the Earth to be able to properly function. You know, Jim Phillips, I used to think that Jim Phillips was crazy. Mr. Phillips, the one-time host of the Phillips File. Matter of fact, he probably still is the host of the Phillips File. If he wanted to come back anywhere, any place, he could. I mean, that's how good he is. But he used to compare the human race to fleas. We're nothing but a parasite on this world, and I don't want you to think, oh, Tuddle's a part of the New World Order. Population control. No. I don't believe in population control. I've done my part when it comes to population control because I'm never ever gonna have kids. I'm just it's a big slap in the face. Yeah, it sucks, but I'm never gonna have any kids. Fertility issues are pretty common, and new research shows we could actually be on the brink of a fertility crisis. Dr. Shanna, an environmental and reproductive epidemiologist at Econ School of Medicine in Mount Sinai, found sperm counts have been plummeting over the last 4 decades. Well, guess what? Good for them. A lot less men having to pay child support. I mean, just look at the bright side. That's going to help the economy. They're going to have more income to be able to spend. But think about this, though. It does have a lot to do with the food. The food that we're eating, I don't want you guys to think that I am at the tip-top shape of my life. But, I mean, think about this. Drugs and alcohol. Now, I was the biggest alcoholic in the world, and I used to take a lot of drugs. So, you know, my sperm count probably is low. But I also have noticed that since I've been working out, since I've been lifting weights, you know, I always heard that this was like an urban legend, but like the more and more muscle that a man builds up, the higher your testosterone gets. And I don't want any of you guys to think, oh, Tuddle's juicing up. That's why he's getting so big. No, I'm not getting big. I don't want to be one of those big guys. I just want to be lean. I want to have lean muscle, and I'm actually bulking up too much right now, and I want to lower that. But a lot of the processed foods and junk food that we're eating, think about this, people. They could be purposely, once again, Tuddle he's going to the dark side. He's going to be like Alex Jones and Art Bell. Before you know it, he's going to be like in a bunker somewhere broadcasting, talking about how people need to watch out for the New World Order, talking about the Denver airport, talking about how vaccines are bad for you. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be, oh, the computer chip. You know, I saw this dumbass game that's going around on TikTok where people are sticking magnets on their arm where they got injected with the coronavirus vaccine, and the magnet is sticking up there like it's sticking to some type of computer chip. Well, hey, buddies, I don't know if you guys realize how computers work. The last thing you want to do is put a fucking magnet up to a computer chip or a computer, whatever is in your arm, because that would completely destroy it. So, yeah, do you think that they're dumb enough? Like, oh, yeah, let's put something up there where they can easily just disarm it with a magnet. But back to what I was saying is that it is the food. It is the food. Why do you think that the United States has had the highest death toll when it comes to the coronavirus? Because we are a bunch of unhealthy fucks here in the United States. Obesity. Like, we don't have to worry about all these other countries. China and all our enemies are just sitting back and they're like, ha ha ha, look at this stupid America. See, I'm horrible at accents, and I cannot fight the urge to try to be able to do an accent, and I am the worst person in the world when it comes to accents. So I'm just going to do it, and you picture in your mind a Chinese accent. Oh, look at these fat Americans. They are sitting back. They are eating the Whoppers, eating the Whopper Juniors. Now I'm going French-Chinese there. I just can't help myself. But they're all sitting back. They're laughing at us. They're like, oh, they're killing themselves. Because it is more expensive to eat healthy. This is, and once again, I know people are going to call me a libtard or liberal or whatever, but this is the God-honest truth. This is just the disparity that's going on in our country right now, where the rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer. The rich can afford the organic, healthy, natural lifestyle eating. And then you got the poor people, which I would be included in those poor people, where it's cheaper to just go to Wendy's and get stuff off of their 99-cent meal. Do you realize you can get 4 items from Wendy's for $4 and be filled up? You would be filled up out of your ass, because guess what? All those preservatives and stuff, they make you feel fuller. So you're eating just bad food after bad food after bad food. You know, I'm guilty of it too. I'll have a diet soda every once in a while. But people are all like, oh, I drink diet soda. Guess you got to keep mixing in some water, people. That's the other thing that's probably killing our sperm counts and stuff, is that you got to start drinking more water. You just do. You got to mix it together, because that artificial sweetener is probably the other thing that's killing the sperm count. So what I'm trying to say is I think this doctor might be going a little bit overboard. But could you imagine, like, everybody's talking about equality. People are talking about we need gender equality here. What if this is the beginning? There's a bunch of women out there. There's like, nobody has ever talked about this. There is a secret group of women, like the Amazon people from Wonder Woman. That they're like, all right, what can we do? We don't need men. We can take care of ourselves. We got all the better sex toys and stuff. How can we be able to figure out to be able to how to reproduce without the men? Maybe all the women in the world, they own all the sperm banks. And us as men, we have just been stockpiling sperm after sperm after sperm in this big warehouse where women eventually are not going to need us anymore. They'll be able to use the sperm. This also could be like the Matrix almost. Like, we are just like used for sperm. They put us in like these little machines where it just like, you know, those auto blow machines where it's just constantly sucking us off, getting sperm, and then they'll give us a little bit of a break. They'll give us a little bit of a break for us to, you know, kind of recuperate, build up our sperm count a little bit more. Remember, my dad used to tell me not to jerk off as much because you only get a 5-gallon bucket of sperm in your life. I swear to God, I believed this for the longest time. It was like, you only get 5 gallons your whole entire life, so don't waste it. Stop doing that. That's why our drain in the bathtub is getting so backed up, because you've already wasted about 3 gallons of your 5 gallons, and it's at the bottom of the goddamn drain in the bathroom. So what I'm saying is, you know, the women, it'll just be a world full of women, which I'm sure that the world will be a better place, because guys, us as guys, we tend to fuck things up. We just do. You know that I'm right. And we're going to be slaves of the women. It's going to go the other way around. Women have been fighting for so long for gender equality, but they didn't want gender equality. They wanted to be the superior gender. They're wiping us out. They are. This could be the beginning of the end for men. But I got to tell you, what's going to happen when you need a tire changed? What's gonna happen when you need out there? Well, you know what? I have worked with some women iron workers, so who knows? Who knows? I'm sure that I'm going to get a lot of hate. I'm sure cancel culture is going to come after me on this one. But when I come back after the break, I want to talk about a related story about how more and more young men are afraid of sex. Be back in a few minutes. You are listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
Orlando Weekly, Best of Orlando. Write the Tuddle Daily Podcast in the category for Best Podcast Not on the Radio. Visit Tuddle.net, where you'll find a direct link, so you can't complain that it's too complicated. And if you don't live in Orlando, no problem. If you're a supporter of the show from anywhere around the world, you can vote too.
Wish you could have just flown and had your vehicle arrive a day or two later so you can enjoy more time doing what's important to you? Well, you can. Just give Starfire Transport a call. Let the professionals do the driving while you're flying. Starfire Transport specializes in RV and auto transport. They'll also haul watercraft from boats to PWCs, cargo trailers, and more. Service available throughout the continental United States. So don't wait. Call Brian today at 574-349-4193 or 989-751-6106 for your next move. 10% off for veterans past or present. Also, make sure to tell them Tuddle sent you for an additional discount. That's Starfire Transport. Want to support the show? Go to paypal.me/Tuddle on the radio.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hope you've enjoyed today's show. Last segment of the day. But before I get into my last topic, I want to remind you, tonight at 8, it's going to be the Tuddle Daily Podcast live stream on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button, because when you hit that bell button, you're going to get alerted to any time I go live or I put up any new content. The Tuddle Daily Podcast is also available on YouTube now. I mean, if you're listening to this right now, you're not going to go to YouTube, but if there's some people out there that maybe don't understand podcasting that well, everybody knows how to use YouTube. So you can tell them, go to youtube.com/Tuddle. You can listen, you can watch, you can do whatever you want to. There's plenty of great content at youtube.com/Tuddle. My next and last news story: why are young men so scared of sex? Now, before I even get into this, I have my theories. I really, really do. It's because of the Me Too movement. And I'm not saying the Me Too movement is a bad thing, because it has done a lot of good things. Like, it threw Harvey Weinstein in prison, and that scumbag deserved to be in prison. He really, really did. But it is also like we are getting a lot of friendly fire. We're getting a lot of shrapnel. We're just getting taken out left and right, when some of these guys are not don't have bad intentions, but they get caught up in the crossfire. This was written by, I don't even know. This could have been a pseudonym or just one of those fake names that they use, because a lot of people, they don't want to be up there, but I'll have to look this up. But the woman that wrote this, her name is Zoe Strimple. Sounds like a fake name to me. But she talks a little bit about her experiences of why young men are so afraid of sex. I am tired, she writes. Men purportedly single and ready to mingle have worn me out. Not sadly in the way one might hope, but in the new, peculiar, nightmarish way of the times. Since becoming single 2 and a bit years ago, sounds very British, I romped around a fair bit on the apps Bumble, Tinder, and lately Hinge. Ooh, what is Hinge? Have to check that one out. Interestingly, the only men who have seemed raring to go and interested, educated, and good-looking were under 25. Too young to have become the unwanted dregs. They are also too young to worry that an older woman, I'm 38, will badger them about kids. See, I got to find out what this bitch looks like, and I know I shouldn't call her a bitch. At first, I was dazzled by the idea of dating younger men, but the reality soon dawned on me. For younger men, a life lived so much online has rendered offline life superficialist. It's an inconvenience. It is therefore almost impossible to arrange a date, let alone get any further than that. Now, I will say that. But also, okay, this works both ways, people, okay? It really, really does. Because, once again, and you know what? Let me read this first. I'd like to think some of the reluctance has been caused by the Me Too movement. Thank you. I'm glad that this is a woman, okay, allegedly, agrees with me, which advocates righteous behavior, boundaries, and enthusiastic consent. With so much to get wrong, maybe it's easier to keep your distance. It is. It is. Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of the moms out there, and I'm not for sure, but I would like to hear from some of the moms out there. If you have a son, are you telling them to be extra careful now? Because you don't want them to get caught up in some bullshit. And I'm not saying rape, sexual harassment, sexual assault does not happen, but it does. It happens all the time. And I think any guy that takes advantage of a woman should be taken out back and just and have a bullet put in the back of his head. But there are also so many cases of men being wrongfully accused of rape. Earlier in the year, I talked about this dating app, and this is so, like, if you want to talk about a mood killer, but there is this app that somebody created, and both partners sign it, and it gives you consent to have sex with each other. That is one of the most unromantic things in the world, but now, as a guy, I'm sorry, you kind of got to do what you got to do to protect yourself, because there are some women out there that are on the prowl that just want to trap a man with a kid or get them caught up in, oh, I did not consent to have sex with this person. So I can see why guys are a little bit more apprehensive. But moms out there, if you got sons, I would love to hear from you. Like, what type of advice do you give them right now living in the era of the Me Too movement? You can email me, Tuddle@gmail.com. That's Tuddle with 2 Ds, Tuddle @gmail.com. Or you can leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. Let me get back into this story. But the reality feels more craven. Time after time, a conversation will start, move to WhatsApp, and go one of three ways. One is simply that the conversation grinds abruptly to a halt. Happens all the time. It does. I can't tell you the amount of women that I've been talking to through chat. You know, that was a great thing about meeting Teresa, the nurse that I've been hanging out with. Like, she knew who I was just from being on the radio, but there was no, like, texting or whatever like that. It was just like, here's my number. I'm about to get off of work. Let's talk. You know, do you guys remember the good old days? God, I sound old when I say the good old days. But the good old days where, like, when you met a girl and you would be on the phone, and you got to remember this is back in the day where, like, if like somebody was trying to get a hold of your parents and you were talking to a girl that you were interested in, it would just get that busy signal, burp, burp, burp. But then call waiting came on board. Then call waiting, that kind of was a big cock block sometimes, because you would be in a really great conversation. And the other thing is, you always had two phones in the house. You had one out in the, like, kitchen, living room area, and then you had one in one of the bedrooms. So you really couldn't go into a lot of detail because you never knew, like, if your parents were listening on the other end. But if somebody called in and you had call waiting, you'd be like, all right, all right, hey, I gotta check this. It might be something for my parents. And you check it, like, hey, is Wayne there? Sally there? Yeah, hold on. Then you'd have to click over, go back to the other one, your girlfriend, and be like, hey, do you want to hold on, or I can call you back? Because there's a phone call and it's important. And that really slowed things down a little bit. But I think talking on the phone is it's more intimate. Like, you can get a feel from somebody. Because, you're always wondering what type of lies people are coming up with on the other end of a chat. Because you can see them, that little chat bubble, and you're like, oh, fuck, what the hell are they writing? Like, you think that they're about to write you a goddamn paragraph and it's only a sentence. You want to know why? It took them so long because they had to think up of a lie. That's the only thing. No, I just didn't do some more cocaine. My sinuses are killing me today. Another is a series of questions demanding answers too detailed and tiresome for tapping out on a phone to a stranger, far more suited to discussing over a drink. In these conversations, messages veer from requests for info on what you did on the weekend to requests for your life story. Without the prospect of a drink, the conversation then dies, or they hang forever in the ether. That's a great use of the word. On Christmas Day, no fewer than 8 20-something men got in touch. Most of the men I had met on dating apps. I'd only met 3. The rest have been kicking around in my DMs, as they say, for up to a year and seemed suddenly keen for a chat. The third path is sexting. Now, I have never, ever been into sexting at all. Like, I mean, I could sit there and I mean, we could talk dirty to each other on the phone, but I just, there's just no interest in guys most of the time, and this goes for women. When you're sexting with somebody, you're getting fake pictures, especially from the dudes. And that's the thing about it. If you get a dick pic from a guy, and I know that I'm ripping this off from the TV show Euphoria, but I've always thought this. Like, it's all about angles. You know, if you watch porn and you see some of these dudes with humongous dicks, it's all about angles. They're using fisheye lenses. Listen, I'm not saying that they don't have big dicks, but they look much, much bigger because of perspective. They really, really do. So for the most part, it's like you need something to compare it to. If you're getting a dick pic from a guy, ladies, make sure they put something there for perspective, because then you can get a true size of the penis. Now, same thing goes with women. Women are going to send you fake pics all the time. All these filters, that Instagram. Oh, by the way, ladies, don't think that you're getting one by on anybody, because I'm not a photography major, but I can tell when you ladies are overusing the apps. Because I've seen some of y'all in real life, and trust me, your skin is not as smooth as it is. So, I don't even know where I am at. This is the most depressing and fast becoming the most uncontrollable and ubiquitous, God, see, I hate big words, aspects of dating young men in the last few months. 6 promising connections with men under 30, all of them well-educated and seemingly polite, degenerated quickly before meetings that never took place. First into references to sex, then to requests for information on what I like, and then to an unstoppable slew of messages about what they'd like to do to me, what they'd like me to do to them, the current status of their body parts, and the incessant voice notes, body part pictures, and requests for pictures of me. It is an inane, tiring, and completely pointless. Sexting has taken place of sex. This may be because sex itself has become such a vex operation, even for 24-year-olds. They have hang-ups to do with boundaries, dolefully explained, but hard to understand. They make confessions about their porn-induced dysfunctions. Yes, that is another one. You know, what you're seeing on porno videos, guys, the young ones that maybe listen to this show, that is not how sex really, really goes. Like, you think that, well, I'm a guy, I gotta be rough, the harder and faster my strokes are, the better. No. Telling you. Guys, if you haven't had sex in a while, the best advice that I can tell you, and I'm not saying I'm a pro at this, because I'm kind of out of practice myself. But guys, I mean, if you haven't had sex in a while, you're getting about 3 minutes tops, 3 to 5 tops. That's why you got to go down on the ladies. You just have to, even if like it's a train wreck down there, or maybe they don't groom as much, you gotta bite the bullet. You got to go eat at the Y. You gotta eat at the Y. You just gotta do it, because you gotta make sure she gets hers, because that's the thing about it, guys. We always get ours for the most part. Because, when I was on all those psychotropic drugs, there were a lot of times I could not finish. And I was lucky if I could actually get a full hard erection. But now that's no problem. Since I'm off all those drugs, I'm like a teenager again. Like, seriously, it's become ridiculous. And I know a lot of you people are probably like, well, Tuddle, why have you talked about all these stories today? Are you anti-man? Are you anti-woman? Are you anti-Me Too? No. I'm not at all. I just think that, with everything else, we are so divided in this country right now that we just go way too far to one side or the other before we just blow a time out, like, and just say, hey, what are we doing here, people? Like, we wanted gender equality, but now it's like the guys got to be careful. But it is happening all over with every single thing. It's just, I think equality is almost impossible. It is an unattainable thing in the human lifestyle. It isn't. Everybody, like, there's always got to be a class. Not everyone can be equal. Even though we would want everybody to be equal, genders, religion, race, like, in a perfect world, we would love for that to be able to happen. I would love for that to be able to happen, but at some point, one side is always going to have more power than the other. That's why I think that it's an unattainable goal. We either go, like, we get to that point where we're all equal, but we go over the line. It's just in our human nature, which is sad. It really is sad. Sorry if I went out on a bad note here, guys. I've been trying to find good and funny things to talk about. Some of the best stuff, some of the best material is talking about my personal life, personal experiences. People love and eat that shit up. But you also got to understand, I got a lot on my plate. I got a lot of issues going on, and I'm not getting out there and having those personal experiences like I did when I was on terrestrial radio. So I'm hoping to get out, start experiencing and living life a little more. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Hope you guys stay. I will talk to you tomorrow.
And that's the show for today. Thanks for listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hey, don't be a dickhead. Do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Also, check out the Tuddle category at 315live.com. The Tuddle Daily Podcast is brought to you by Starfire Transport, StitchYouUp.com, and PocketPairClub.com. Special thanks to show producer Vulture and co-host Sirach. Show voiceover service is brought to you by JCVoiceover.com and The Little Cheese Show. Download and subscribe to The Little Cheese Show everywhere podcasts are found. If you want to help support the show, go to paypal.me/TuddleOnTheRadio. You have something you want to say? Tuddle@gmail.com or leave a voicemail at 407-270-3044. To follow all Tuddle social media, go to Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with 2Ds.net. Thanks again for all your support, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
A society grows great when old men plant trees, the shade of which they know they will never sit in. Good people do things for other people. That's it, the end.